Hello, hello, hello. This is Kenny Perkins, aka your cancer guy. And today, listen, if you're going through anything that may be difficult as far as your cancer journey, if this is something that you first time being diagnosed or being uh, diagnosed with a reoccurrence, don't feel alone. Don't feel that you're in darkness. No, we're here to help you in this. I became a cancer coach, one, because I wanted to service and help people and guide them in this journey. We're helping anyone who may be going through this, not only the cancer patient, but their family members and people who are caregivers. Sometimes you don't know what to do or how to do it. This, as a cancer coach, All Talk Oncology and Kenny Perkins, your cancer guy, will guide you through it. We've created programs for you that help you through this journey. And we also have coaching calls that we can do along the way. And so, please, I hope that you find benefit from All Talk Oncology. And as I say that, guess what? We have another phenomenal guest that's going to shed some light on her experience, what she's gone through. We're talking about the best holistic life. She's come up with a magazine called Best Holistic Life, and it helps individuals that may be going through something. She had a campaign that she put together in October. She had a family member who was gone through cancer, but she's also personally have experienced it. And so we're bringing her on our show today, and I'm super excited. You're going to find so much about this individual, and not only we're going to find out about her, you're going to listen to the tips that she gives you, right? All the gems and the nuggets that can help you on your cancer journey. Please give me the honor of honoring and introducing our next guest, Jana Thompson. Welcome to All Talk Oncology.
Yay. Well, thank you. That was really nice.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here. It's an honor to have you on our show. And you know, thank you. And I want to say, tell us a little bit about yourself because the listeners, they don't know you. And maybe you can just give us an introduction of who you are and what you're doing.
You know, my journey is a fun one, a scary one, like a lot of other people's journeys. But mine gave me an awakening, right? I used it. I used my journey to step into something I was passionate about in my purpose. And I've been doing that for the last 12 years. But I'm also a mom of four. I'm also a grandmother of seven. And they're not even little. Two of them went to college last year, so they're growing. And I've been enjoying this life ever since my what I call my awakening, which was getting a terminal diagnosis and told I only had a few months to survive, if that long. And deciding to survive in it, to thrive in it, no matter what. And I've been doing that for 13 years now. That was 13 years ago. My diagnosis didn't change. It's still exactly the same, but it's never been a problem. I mean, I live each day. And for those who are like, yeah, I live, duh, I'm here. There is a difference between living your life and living your life. And so for me, I'm living my life these days. And what I've done is through this journey, when you get a diagnosis, first of all, I love what you're doing because we are fighting now to get help into hospitals. So when you get a chronic illness disease or a terminal disease or scary disease, that instead of them just booking your next appointment with the next doctor that's supposed to see you, they're booking you with someone that can coach you through it, that listens to your fears, that validates that's okay. I totally get how you're coming from. Helps you set up that family support system. But they should be taking care of the mental side of it too, because immediately I hear in my head, I have cancer. Does that mean I'm going to be dying? Am I going to lose my hair? Am I going to be sick? Are my children going to see me wither away? There's like all these questions, and the hope gets dimmed. It like completely gets dimmed. And so I love that that you do what you do because I think people need to talk it out. They need to walk through it. They need to hear that it's other people's journey as well and that there's hope for them. So
Thank you
for
so much.
me, when I got my diagnosis, I went home because I chose to go home instead of being made comfortable in the hospital. I could come home and have care here. So when I came home, I had decided I wanted to make this memory with a brand new grandson. He was our fifth grandchild. I was at his birth, went in for a little surgery, and the next thing I know, I'm dying. And my daughter brought him to see me. He was probably 3 months old at this point. I hadn't seen him since he was born. And I thought about this, Kenny, how will he remember me? Like, how will he's so little. How will he have one memory? Not the way it sounds when I giggle with him, not the way I smell when he comes in for a hug every time, or how I pinch and kiss his cheeks. He won't have a single memory of who I am or what he meant to me. So I started a journey to make a memory with this grandson who just turned, well, will turn 13 this month. And it was fun. It was incredible. It was scary, but I wanted to make this memory with my grandchild. So I got on my computer in my bed because I was too weak to get up. And I typed in the words, desperate for health answers, looking for holistic options, because modern medicine had told me they had finished with whatever they could do for me. And the whole world opened up. Like, I literally, from that bed, was able to reach across the globe and get all this information. Here's the problem with that, Kenny, and why the things that you do are so important. Not only do incredible things come to me, but a bunch of junk, right? And I am not fighting about money because I could spend it all. I'm not going to be here. What do I care? It was about my precious time. That's what became valuable to me, was my time. And there's so much out there. And I knew if I got well, that was my space. My space was to vet people who were incredible, no matter where they were at, right? Vet them, know that they actually went to school for what they said they did, that not only are they helping others, they're invested in their outcome. It's not like, here, let me hand you a pamphlet, buy my brochure, right? Or buy my talk on this. They were showing up for their clients because when I asked them, what's your story? I knew why they were involved. They were there too. They were scared. They were desperate. They needed something. And so they created something, and they wanted to make sure that each person that came to them had the kind of outcome they had. And so they were invested in that person's outcome. And so that is how our whole entire platform like was built.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's exactly what happens. People get so overwhelmed with information, and you don't know what information is true or not. And so now you're filtering, and all you want is answers. And that's, it's difficult and frustrating, because it's, especially when you're fighting for what may be your life, right, Jana? So, talk to us. That's a, as you Googled this and researched this and all these things popped up, what was it about your diagnosis that maybe they gave you as terminal, and what did you find that gave you hope again?
So I did not have an illness that was sickness, right? I went in for a surgery. They damaged my vagus nerve, and then my I got something called gastroparesis, which my stomach completely did not operate. So after seeing a few specialists, I was told that the best result would be for me to remove my stomach because it wouldn't empty. I looked pregnant. I looked like I was 9 months pregnant. And so they removed my stomach. And when they did that, the surgery dehisced after surgery, and I became septic. And of course, their plan to feed me was through a PIC line, and I would be eating something called TPN at the first. I don't know if that was going to change, but I was getting all my nutrients I could have because my surgery had dehisced, and whatever went in my mouth was going out into my body cavity, causing more infection. I had both lungs had collapsed from this infection. It was not good. When you get septic, it is not a good place, and you fight to live. But when I finally got food in me, what it was mostly the TPN. I didn't have anything across my lips, not even water or ice, nothing for over 6 months. Just what was being fed to me through this PIC line. And TPN is synthetic. And some people don't do well with synthetic products in their body. And so my organs were slowly just shutting down. And there was no other way to get nutrients in me but using TPN at the time. So I don't even know if they have something new now. That was 13 years ago. But I just kept taking the TPN. My organs just kept slow shutting down. There's a certain point, I think, with your kidneys when they go, they don't come back, right? You're going to have dialysis and things like that. And thank goodness I never got to that point. Or if I did, I was blessed to have them come back. But I literally was withering away. I was so malnourished. My hair was falling out. My teeth started to fall out. My nails came out of the nail bed. Like, think about it, hardly getting any nutrients for 6 months. Um, and I got on that computer and started looking for health answers. And I found something, which, by the way, I think is hysterical to talk about now, but I saw these essential oils. And here's the thing that triggered in my brain: wow, they're holistic. They smell amazing. At least I'll smell good. And I want to know more about them. And so I started using essential oils. And I started, by the way, a lot of it, I don't even know if essential oils are what they call a placebo, because there were some things that shifted in my mind. And I will tell you, a lot of what happens in any diagnosis is what's going on between those two beautiful ears of yours, which is why having someone to talk to is so important. And for me, there was this mental shift. And I wasn't dying in my head, even though I had no reason to believe I wouldn't. And I know we're all supposed to go someday, and I'll be okay with that, but it wasn't today. And every morning when I woke up, it wasn't today, right? And all that day is how do I get another memory? Do I call another one of the grandkids? Do I reach out to one of my own children and tell them like what they meant to me? Like, because I wasn't really able still to get out of bed. So I started building back those beautiful relationships because they go by so fast. Your kids grow so fast, and you look and you're old. You're dealing with illnesses, and your children are off doing their life, and you warn them, but they don't hear that warning until they have their own aha moment, right? And so I was rebuilding relationships and connecting with my grandkids and making sure that if they're talking to me, I don't know how many of you are moms and you're listening with one ear, thinking about what's coming next and doing things, and you're not ever making that eye contact with them. You're never, like when they're little, kneeling down and getting eye to eye with them, putting a hand on them so they know I'm here, I'm listening, you have my attention. And so I made sure that my conversations were super focused and that they knew I was listening. I was hearing everything they said. And so my whole conversation started to change. I wanted to know more, Kenny. I wanted to know, like, why is this happening? I want to know more. And so I went back to school in my 50s as I started feeling better. I started learning about how the brain works. Why is it so important? I always knew about manifestation, but I was that manifestation person that put the vision board up and never did one single thing to take a step towards it, right? It was just there. And that's a good first step, but there are other steps to manifesting or making things happen, right? And so I wanted to learn why. What does our brain do? Why is it doing something it's told it can't do? So for me, that whole journey opened up to where I'm at now. I learned a lot about language. I learned about being in the moment when people are near and dear to me or are speaking to me. I learned about receiving what they were telling me and making sure that I replied instead of reacted to what they said. I responded. And so it wasn't a reaction of what first came up because I was a spitfire. And I would tell people my mouth could be a weapon of mass destruction if you got in my way. But instead of reacting, I processed, I listened, I really heard if it was coming from hurt or from confusion. And then I would respond in my conversations. And it like changed my world. I wish I didn't have to have a near death experience. But having said that, I will tell all of us whatever journey you're on the right path. You're learning something to take to the next step that you have. So everything I went through obviously was where I was supposed to be. And would I do this it all over again, exactly the same? No, I would change every single thing I did. And because I have learned so much, it would be stupid not to take this knowledge if I had to do it all over again, right? I would change everything. That's the beauty of learning. So if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would do every single thing differently, better.
I love that. Jana, this is what a lot of us go through. And for my listeners, right? You get diagnosed with something like cancer, or your family member, or your caregiving for the person who does that, or someone who has dealing with a terminal illness like that you dealt with. You had sepsis. How do you get the mindset, the shift? Because it's mental now. Not only are you going through it, right? You had the physical things. You had sepsis. I mean, things were shutting down. There's no denying that. But what you learned and what you were saying to yourself and how you had to reprogram your brain. It's important. And how did you go about doing that? Because what we get from the listeners is we got to do our mindset and we got to shift, and we got to, the things we say to ourselves are important, but how did you do it? Right? And how, what was that process like? And I want my listeners to capture that, you know.
So it's baby steps. I didn't know how to do that. It's literally baby steps. I remember I was in the hospital for nearly 3 months before I came home. And when I say I live in the same diagnosis, it means my stomach didn't grow back. I still have to figure out how to get nutrients in my body because I cannot use synthetic medications or synthetic, food. So every day for me is a process, and I'm grateful. I tell my body, you are so lucky. Like you absorb all those incredible nutrients that I just was able to give you. But for me, it was baby steps. Like the first thing is you have this aha moment of not wanting to die and realizing this isn't going to be my day. Um, the other thing is when my doctor would come to me in the hospital and he'd say, "How are you doing today?" I always said, I'm fine, right? And he would get very angry with me because I would never say, I was weak. I didn't know what was going to happen this day. I remember I had some major internal bleeding, and he said to me, "Great, I'm so glad. Now we know where it's coming from." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's happy. I'm like, but I always said, "I'm fine. I am good." And he would get really mad. He goes, "I'm your doctor. I need to know what is going on." But I refused to speak anything bad about my body. I would tell my brain, "We're good. We've got this," even if we didn't. But the brain doesn't know this, right? The brain is like your computer. Think about using it as an AI tool, right? It only takes in what you're programming into it. It only recognizes the things that you're programming into it. So when I wrote my book, The Yep Factor, it literally was this aha moment that I've had raising, I'm not raising, but helping to raise my grandkids or being in their life, being blessed to be in their life. And when they would tell me I can't do something, I always would say, "You haven't done it yet, but if you work hard, you can." And they became this yet generation for me. And they would look at each other and say, "You haven't hit that home run yet. You haven't won that wrestling match yet. But if you keep working, you will." And their brain, when we say I can't, our brain slams the door. And if that can't is loud enough, and in our heart we believe it enough, not only does it slam it, it barriers, puts a barrier against it, locks it, and the possibilities are absolutely not going to happen. Your brain and body are going to do everything to protect you from making that happen because you just told it you can't. But if you say, "I haven't yet," it goes to slam that door, but it's like, "Wait, leave it open a little bit." She said, "Yeah, that means we need to be working on something." Your brain is immediately receiving little signals that says this hasn't happened yet. It means it might. So we better be getting prepared. And so if this is all true, I'm telling you, it's a big computer. What you're feeding your brain, what's been told to you, what generationally has been passed down to you, it's all fed into this beautiful computer that we call our minds. And can it be changed? Yes. And here's the thing. I hear people say, "I've been doing the work for so long and I have so much, like, I feel like it's never going to be over." No, it's not. Your work, and you are lucky, will never be over. The minute I tell it like playing whack-a-mole in the brain. Every time you whack it down, something else pops up from another place. But yay, we get to work on more, right? And if you work on it here, I feel like you leave it here. I don't feel like we take this with us on the next part of our journey. So for me, taking, excuse me, one step at a time, one baby step. Love yourself. Pay attention to the words you use to yourself. I was shocked. I thought I was the most confident woman in the world. I had everything I wanted. I was like untouchable. And then when I started listening to the things I said to myself, I was shocked. Like absolute, like where did that come from? Why would I think that? What happened? I used to think I was very stupid, even though I'm, college educated. I dumbed myself down when I would go into board meetings. There were so many things I did that I kept secret because I was told that was my place. And so there's a lot that goes on when you start working on your mind. And it's kind of a beautiful journey. For me, it's been a beautiful journey. It's also kept me healthy. I'm telling you, if I go back and look, Kenny, at every illness I've ever had, pneumonias, um, even autoimmune diseases. I look at where my life was and what I was going through, and there was always something that I could correlate to that illness. And so I'm not saying you're making yourself sick. I'm saying you're allowing it in the door, right? You're weakening your state of mind, your body state of mind, and it's allowing it to rear its ugly head. I have friends whose dad just passed from Parkinson's, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not a virus. You don't catch Parkinson's. So is it like in your body just festering and it's hiding, and then maybe it'll pop up, maybe it won't. Some people it pops up earlier, some people it pops up later. How do people keep it from popping up? And I really believe it's that conversation and how we get our body in these beautiful state of homeostasis and calm the nervous system and allow it to do its thing. I am not a doctor, but I will tell you it couldn't hurt.
I love it. I love it because you what I see from you and what I hear from you is that this shift in mindset changed your whole perspective on your relationships and how you dealt with individuals and then how you dealt with yourself, right? And how has that felt? How has the outcome and that shift benefited you in your relationships and with yourself? And I guess what I'm saying is before, the Jana before and the Jana now.
So for me, it's allowed me to receive love. I know that when you start creating that love affair with yourself, it opens the door to receive it from other people, because you feel deserving of it. And there are a lot of men and women. I feel like women are more feeling unworthy of receiving love. I've seen women go into relationships and completely destroy a good relationship because they're counteracting, right? I'll get you before you get me. You're not going to hurt me, right? And so we have all this stuff going on in our minds that we play. And for me, I think the biggest thing it did in my relationship is to receive love and understand I am deserving of my husband to love me the way he does. I love him back the same. Why wouldn't I think I was deserving of that? I do deserve to have my children love me the way they do. I'm a good mom, right? I try to be there for them. Do I make mistakes? Oh, hell yes, we all do. And am I going to probably put them into like some kind of treatment plan later? Probably. They're probably going to need to walk through some mommy issues, but we do the best we can, and that's their beautiful thing to work through, right? So yeah, for me, I think the most important thing is I wake up in complete joy every day. I honestly do. I tell people I'm turning 65 this year, and they're like, wait, what? I'm like, seriously, I feel like being in a state of joy, being in a place where I really do love myself. Are there things I still don't like about myself? Yes, absolutely. But I work on them. Every year I find one thing I want to work on myself that I just want to pour into my brain that it deserves or it should be or that it's okay. I picked last year, I picked I was going to be more less judgy. And that meant about myself because I judge myself a lot. But also, when you judge yourself, you judge others. And so I'm going to be less judgy. And on Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm fairly into the year, my husband and I go to the store, and a woman walks in, and she was probably a close to 300 pounds, and she was wearing biker shorts and a bra, like a sports bra. And my mind immediately went, what was she thinking? Who let her out the door? This is going on in my head. And I realized because I made that promise to myself to not be so judgy, I immediately caught that thought and thought, oh my gosh, that is judgy. And I said to myself, I wish I had the body confidence that woman has. She was strutting herself. She looked gorgeous to herself. And I immediately went over and said, oh my goodness, you look amazing. She goes, I know, I just threw this on and got a store. And I wasn't making fun of her. I wanted to celebrate her loving her body at whatever size. Who are we to say you should not be wearing that? My brain did though. And so I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be a hard one this year because I'm not even a few days into it or a couple of weeks into it for whatever we were doing. And here I am already having major corrections. But do you know, I still to this day keep in contact with that girl I met in the grocery store that my brain immediately was shaming for just loving her body.
I love that. I love that you gave us a real live example. And not only did you correct it, And I hope everyone's listening to this. She just gave us so many gems. Not only she acknowledged it, she realized it, she changed it, and went in and spoke to her. And look, you not only did you just speak, you exchanged
Yeah.
numbers or contact information, and now you still talk about what an amazing way to help us to see how our mindset and our perspective can change when we put in the effort.
And you are worth putting in the effort for. So absolutely. I feel like where things are at right now, especially in California, there's a lot of hopelessness and distrust and fear that is going on around everything that's happening. Which is one of the reasons I think, Kenny, that shows like yours, um, people need to understand that you're not alone. You, of course, you have to do the work on your own. We can't do your work for you, but you do not have to be alone. It's like having a cancer diagnosis, right? They can't do the chemo for you. They can't show up at the doctor's appointments. They can't throw up for you, but somebody could be there to hold your hair when you do. Somebody can be there to drive you when you do. Someone can be there to cry when you need to cry. You do not have to do the journey on your own, but you got to do the work on your own. It's the same as we go out through life, right? And we help each other and we share hope and love and kindness. We have to do this on our own. We have to make the choice that this is who we are and what we want to do, but we don't have to keep it in ourselves. We can share this beauty around the world. And again, in California right now, I'm an empath and I walk through and I can feel the sadness and I think we go through stages of grief. For all the people who've lost their homes, first they're devastated and they're just shocked. Like, did this really happen? And I think we're hitting the state of anger right now, which is a normal phase, by the way. It's a normal place. All our feelings, I want you to feel all your feelings. I don't want you to suppress any of them. I want you to feel anger and hatred and all those things. Don't want you to live there, though. I want you to drive through it and say, great, I'm on to the next thing. Forgive yourself, learn something, and move forward into a better place. But we should be feeling all the feelings. They're all normal. They're all okay. If you were to get a diagnosis of some horrific disease or cancer or something, you can be angry, you can have all those feelings, but feel them and then move through them. Don't live in anger, don't live in fear, don't live in those states. Just experience them, know that they're going to fuel you moving forward, and find one that puts you in a better place.
Yes. Well said, Jenna. You are an amazing individual, and I we appreciate you. We appreciate you coming in here and helping us to see how to shift your mindset, even in the darkest moments. And you're a living proof that when you do something like this, it can transform in your world, right? It can take that dark place that you were at and transform it into such a beautiful light. And what I love about you, and this is my show, so I get to brag on you. What I love about you is that not only did you do the self work, but you turned around and you gave back to the community. Talk to us a little bit about the best holistic life. And also, I think you're working on a new magazine. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing and how you're giving back.
So, I have a magazine called Best Holistic Life magazine, and it goes out to 1.8 million subscribers. We started it in 2019, and honestly, I started it by accident. I was being kind of lazy. So, I was coaching at the time and sharing my journey and coaching people through theirs. And I had to slow back on coaching because I was packed. I had no free time, and I did not survive to give away all my hours to work, right? I wanted those important um, hours back to be present in my family and friends' lives and in mine. So when I cut back on coaching, a lot of people got upset and they were like, can you put a newsletter out and just put some information in it for us, every month or twice a month? I'm like, I don't have time. But I had heard all these beautiful people's stories and they weren't unfamiliar to me. And I knew they wouldn't be unfamiliar to others. So I asked them, why don't you give me an article about your story, write a blog, whatever we called it at the time. Before I got sick, I was an interior designer here in LA, and I was pretty big at it. And I got 30 articles sent to me, and I was like, how do I put 30 articles in an email? I don't know what's going to happen with this. So I got on Canva, and because of my interior design background, I'm like, I'll make it look like a little brochure, a magazine, right? We created our very first magazine. And I sent it out to my email list, which was, I don't know, 2,800 people at the time. And we got 33,000 people subscribed to it. And I was like, wait, what? How did my email jump from 2,500 to over 33,000? And so this is a thing. People like these stories of hope, right? So I released every quarter in a magazine form that I created on Canva all by myself. And then we needed more. People wanted more. And so I'll just run through it real quickly. We release every month now. We even have special issues that come out. And now local communities have said, like, look, we want to shine in our zone of genius, right? We want people to understand we have local stores and local coaches and local, things that you could get here locally because our magazine is global. And so I tell people we can't really target a 20-mile radius over you. We can get your message out globally, but we can't get people in your brick and mortar. So we've decided to adjust this year and change that. So we're created a magazine called Ageless Living LA, but it's also going to be a metropolitan area. So it'll be Ageless Living Denver, Houston, Miami, and we will be releasing that. I'm hoping to get to monthly, but I think we might start quarterly. We'll just see how it goes, but we are going to be releasing that this summer. I am very excited to shine a light on the beautiful city I live in, LA, and all the people that make it so great, and let you know that for me, living agelessly isn't about wrinkles, and it's about my health and my relationships, right? That's what keeps me young, feeling joy every day. And that's the kind of energy I would like to have on the magazine that goes out into the world.
I love it. I love that. You know, stay tuned. I tell you, Jana, she's full of surprises. She's full of gifts. That is going to be amazing. I thank you for that. What an amazing thing to your brain never stops, does it?
When I'm dead, Kenny.
Yes, I love it. I love it. We look forward to, and now here you also have a podcast too that you do.
I do. We have a podcast called Oh My Health There Is Hope. I wrote a best-selling book called Oh My Health There Is Hope. By the way, it had a compilation of stories of hope. And when it became a bestseller, an international bestseller so quickly, I was why? And I realized it's those stories. We've got to tell more stories. Here's the thing, when you tell your story, no matter how scary it is for you to tell or how you're going to think people are going to see you afterwards, like I thought if I told my story of being sick, people would see me as weak. But what it really does is connect in an emotional way to someone who's struggling in their own journey. And when they see that you got through it, there's hope for them to get through it. So when we have someone on our show, the very first thing we ask them is to share their story of hope. We have over 700 episodes. We get about 40,000 downloads. And I think that's people saying, yes, we love your stories.
100%. 100%. We do need, I mean, there's not enough people sharing some of the things that they're going through. And so I feel that alone makes a person feel isolated and alone in their journey. And they don't realize they're not alone. There's other people who also have experienced what you're going through. So for you to put that together where people can benefit and listen and gather that, man, thank you so much for that.
I appreciate you, Kenny, and I appreciate all the people who've supported us. I hope that it's feeding their soul. I hope it's feeding their mind, their soul, and that they're making better choices for themselves.
Yes. You embody what we talk about when it comes to mindset. And so being able to talk about it, to see you thriving now after
Mm.
what you've gone through, right? To be thriving and to come in and have two magazines, a book, a podcast. We thank you so much because that infuses hope into us, right? To say, you know what? No matter what our situation is, as long as we don't give up and we make the adjustments and we do the self work, then you know what? We can be a light and we can have our best life, right? So thank you for that.
I really come from a place that nothing's impossible. And when I tell people, the most important thing I want you to know about anything you hear is always work with your doctor. I worked with my doctor the whole time I was trying holistic stuff. I never didn't call him about something when I wanted to go off a medication. I asked him, can you please help me get off this medication? And we did regular blood testing to make sure that wherever I needed was still being given to me. And I was meeting whatever I needed to. And so I want you guys to understand getting help from somebody, especially in a holistic area. It's super important that your doctors are in that circle. They work best together. If I'd have completely left my doctors and just did it on my own, I would not be here today. And if I completely listened to my doctors, I would have laid in that bed and just let life go. But I didn't. I combined the two. And so if you learn anything from me at all, is that Western medicine and holistic choices, they work best together. And so don't do anything without, if you're under the care of a doctor, or you should be under the care of a doctor, or you've been trying to fix something for a long time on your own, get them involved. So I think it's really important that you guys hear that message, if nothing else, that you have to have both to be healthy. And if you have a doctor that doesn't recognize holistic medicine, it's okay. There's a lot of doctors out there. Look for a DO. There's a lot of doctors out there who understand that they're bringing in holistic medicine. I know that at Kaiser they now have holistic doctors in there. I forget what they're calling them right now because it just went out of my brain. But I was shocked. I was so surprised because when I first started my journey, in the whole Kaiser, they had one nutritionist. And my whole body was about getting nutrition. So I'm like, how do you have just one? So I would tell you guys, if you hear nothing, hear. It works best. Don't cut out your doctors. Don't cut out the idea of using natural, healthy stuff. Use them together.
Love that. I love that message. Take this. Hope you guys are taking notes here because Jana, she's giving it to you. Jana, before we let you leave, first of all, I want to say thank you. It's been a blessing having you here on the show. It's amazing the gems that you've given us and walking us through your experience and how you transformed yourself. And here we are today. But before we let you go, what would you like to say to the listeners that they can walk away with?
You matter. You matter in someone's life, but you should matter most in yours. And so if you could just think for a moment that you are the most important thing in the world, that you have everything you need to do whatever you want. It's literally between your two beautiful ears. And all you have to do is start changing the love language you share with yourself. So give yourself some love, some credit, some compassion.
I love that. I love that. You know, we take that test, right? The love language, the 5 love languages, right? And so what you've just said is that give yourself that back. Find that love that you need and give yourself that because you are the most important thing and no one's going to take care of yourself better than you. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Kenny. By the way, I love that test. Mine's kindness, acts of kindness. I'm telling you, I don't think there's a man sexier when I see him helping a dog or a child or another friend. Like they become, ooh, that's pretty hot.
I love it. It's important. All these things are important and we don't focus on them enough. And I think, like you said, sometimes it's a generational thing that gets passed and we overlook them. So yeah, 100%. Jana, thank you so much for being here on All Talk Oncology. It's been a blessing. And I like to tell everyone out there listening, you are not alone in this. We're in this together. Again, this is Kenny Perkins, AKA your cancer guy. And until again, I'm out.
So stay connected with us on All Talk Oncology Cancer Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that, right? Wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's Apple, Spotify, make sure you subscribe and continue to spread that word, right? Engage in this because your engagement can help someone stay alive. And this is what we're talking about. So again, make sure you subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Again, this is Kenny Perkins, aka your cancer guy. Until again, I'm out.